Right, good evening. Welcome to the three-step system to break an alcohol habit and without giving up your social life completely, because I know that in itself is a mindset block that prevents from people making this change that deeply they know behind the closed doors they need to make, They feel like, oh, but if I give up booze, then I'm not going to see my good friends anymore. I totally get it. So after watching this training and if you implement the action steps that I give you in the three-step system, I'm very certain with time and consistency, you will start to feel better in yourself. And just a heads up, I'm not going to preach complete elimination of alcohol. I myself don't find an issue in just having the odd pint or a glass of wine if you're going to have a nice meal with your partner, or if you haven't seen a friend in a long time. It's nice to have a nice pint here and there, However, in some instances, it is actually needed that they go down the AF route and actually give up booze completely, because it's having such a destructive impact in their lives. But that'll be personal preference, and every individual, of course, is different. So with that said, let's dive in with this training. There we go. So why breaking this habit matters so much. So I'm sure you'll all agree, excessive alcohol impacts your health, your energy, and your productivity. It's more so the aftermath, isn't it? Especially from my experiences, it just takes longer and longer and longer to recover from a drinking session, comparison to our younger days, where it's just mental what you could get away with back then. We're like superhuman. But cutting back on alcohol can improve your confidence, more so your body confidence. It's probably one of the reasons why, if you are overweight watching this, and why you're overweight, of course, it's loads of empty calories in a short period of time. Can definitely improve relationships. Instead of having a drink in your hand most nights, you could actually be doing something fun with your family, or having a better communication with the missus instead of just switching off, drinking your cans or your bottle of wine, whatever it is. And then overall, of course, it improves physically and mentally, your overall well-being. Now, I want to start this training off by sharing my own personal transformation with this. It was life-changing, to say the least. So this on the left-hand side is me around 6 years ago. I've just cut off all my mates there. Had to fish this out because it's been such a long time. At a club, looking happy, when in reality, I don't really look that in good shape there, do I? I look a bit chunky. But yeah, I looked smiley, happy, but not in a good place. Basically, I was using alcohol, party, that kind of lifestyle to escape on a weekend, because I was completely burnt out, working stupid hours in my gym business at the time. I was like 70 plus hour weeks physically, plus the 30 hours mentally. Could never truly switch off, living and breathing it. Had no support, my choice at the time, which, yeah, it backfired eventually. And then eventually the penny drop moment, it's like, what I'm doing right now is completely sabotaging everything, and I'm not really fulfilling my potential in the life that I truly want. So I made a drastic change, and instead of just running away from my problems, I faced them head on. And I wanted to become the best version of myself, improve my business systems and freedom. And I wanted, if I'm being completely honest, to attract a gorgeous woman to actually settle down with. I was ready for that stage of life and build a future with. So I went all in. And that is the version of me that I created. That is probably the best physique that I've had in my existence. Really good Nick. Just feeling on top of the world. And obviously, when you become the best version of you, you attract people into your life. And lo and behold, I ended up meeting my fiance at a wedding, and we hit it off. And yeah, the rest is history. And I'm a proud father this year as a result. So happy days. The reason I mention that is that's the kind of impact this can have in your life. It's a very destructive habit. And it's so common, but a lot of people don't want to admit to it and face up to it. But the question is, how would it change your life if you were to be able to break this habit? So let's dive in. Why do people struggle with this? Why do they really struggle to cut back? Well, number one is relying on willpower alone. Chris, I'm just going to give up. I'm just going to give it up. Sounds good, but from what I've seen, in most cases, willpower fades, but habits stay until replaced. Then you have the social pressure. Come on, just have one, don't be the boring fucker in the group. What's the point of even coming out if you're not going to drink? All of this kind of stuff. But eventually, go on then. And then if you're anything like me, because I'm such a light drinker, weak drinker, after a couple, it's just 100 ml an hour. And then you wake up the next day like, wow, what just happened? Hangover from hell. Here we go again. Drinks at social events often feel unavoidable. And then you have coping mechanism of stress, because alcohol is an easy but harmful stress reliever to fall back on. So, do these challenges sound familiar? If so, let's tackle them with a proven strategy. So this is my simple 3-step system for actual real results. So step 1 in this system is to solve the root cause of your drinking habit. So you want to identify triggers that lead to unhealthy habits. Then you want to break the habit loop. So you want to disrupt the patterns that reinforce the behavior. And then you want to replace, this is a very important step, you want to replace your drinking habit with a positive habit, okay? So something that's going to empower you, make you feel better, versus just destroying you. So let's dive into each of these so you can start addressing them. So step 1 is to identify your triggers, and there's 3 triggers here, okay? So we've got the stress trigger. So of course, this could be work related. If you're a businessman like me, behind the scenes, it's so stressful. You're expected to know all the answers. Feels like the weight of the world's on your shoulders. And yeah, it's overwhelming. I try and speak to my missus from time to time, but I think I just get too repetitive. And then I guess lately, as I'm recording this now, I don't really open up to her anymore, because I could just see it that she's sick of it. So we need people to speak to, That in itself, communication is a really good coping mechanism. But men like to bottle things up. Women are more open to chatting about problems. Also, you could have issues with your family life. This could be in your relationship, because this bad habit in itself could be causing friction in your relationship. Your partner might be like just fed up of your behavior. Like, fucking hell, where's he gone? He's not the person I reckon, or she's not the person I was getting out of hand, Or this could be affecting your body image. The excess calories, the poor decisions it tends to create in terms of being hungover. This could be causing you to have a bad body image, and then that's causing stress, and then that's why you're just stuck in this vicious cycle. And then in the third column there, very frequent self-talk. You feel like you need a drink after a hard day, right? Then we have the social triggers, so going out to parties or just basic weekend nights out. Friends push you, as I mentioned before. Go on, just have one. Before you know it, you can't remember the whole night, especially if they're getting shots in, it's game over. Then we've got environmental triggers, so alcohol at home or at advertisements, whether that be on the TV or social media. And then we've got there walking past the wine rack every evening. If pretty much your house is just bombarded with booze in the cupboards and the fridges, literally wine is just staring at you, it's only a matter of time before that willpower caves in and you go, fuck it, go on then, I'll have one. One leads to a bottle, you know the drill. So which of these triggers resonates with you the most? Because awareness is the first step to freedom. I'd like you to write them down. What really stood out to you there? Get a pen and paper and write it down. When you write shit down, it really hits home. Okay? Then we have step 2. So we then want to go and break this habit loop. So this looks like, number 1, the first part of a habit is the cue. So this is the trigger that starts the habit. So this could be the stress, as we just mentioned. It could be work, your relationship. Kids could be doing your head in. As I've become a dad this year, I know how challenging it is to be a father. Then we have the craving. So this is the desire to act on the cue. So you've had a stressful day and you're like, oh my God, I can't wait to have a drink when I get in. That anticipation, that desire is building. Get through the door. You're like, oh, wow, give me that bottle of wine. Then you have the action, which is the response you take to satisfy the craving. And then you have the reward part of the habits. This is the benefit that you get, which reinforces the loop. Everything's fantastic now. And then literally every time that happens, you go, this all happens within seconds. Drinking makes me feel better. I'll just turn to that when I get in, because it's the easy option. So some action steps here are you want to address the cue. It's the root cause of the problem, right? The stress that you're under. What can you do to improve those problems that you have going on? Stress in itself is never going to go away in life. Life's tough, And again, let me relate back to business. Business is just relentless. But if I go back to my personal experience, my personal transformation, it was because I was too fearful of letting go of control. I thought I had to do everything in the business, which ended up backfiring. But luckily, I invested in my first coach, my first mentor at the time, who helped to improve my systems. That gave me the time and freedom to start working on myself again. And yeah, everything completely transforms off the back of that. So that all started by fixing the root cause of the problems, as I've mentioned. Then you want to reframe the craving, change the response. So as we say, stack a different positive coping mechanism in place, and you want to reassess the reward. Is that really helping you out? Of course, with alcohol, it's not, right? It's just a short-term fix, which leads to a long-term problem. So I'd highly recommend that you start with the cue, as I've just mentioned, because that will be the root cause. So 4 proven strategies to then break this bad habit. Okay, so now you know how to break the loop. Let's address the habit. So step 1 is to make it invisible. Remove the triggers from your work life, from the home life, or in social settings. Then you want to make it unattractive. So reframe the benefits of avoiding the habit itself. So an example with home, again, if you don't want to get the booze out of the house, literally write notes on paper and stick it next to the booze and just list off like, what are the repercussions if I turn to this booze tonight, Make it difficult, so increase friction. So simple strategy here is to just get the booze out the house, put it in a garage, put it in a shed so it's out of arm's length and you can't easily turn to it. Or one step further, if this is really impacting your life in a negative way, just get rid of the bloody thing, and start afresh. Make it unsatisfying. Get accountability to reinforce better choices. If you're like me, maybe your partner's accountability is not enough, or maybe they're on the same kind of destructive path as you and you both need to make this change, in which I'd highly recommend investing in some external help to hold you accountable to make these changes that you need to make. So which of these strategies can you apply today to disrupt the habit loop? And then we have step 3, which is the most important, and it's one that people just don't seem to do. They just go with the willpower route and they leave that empty void that needs filling, and eventually it does get filled back up with alcohol. So stack a positive habit in replacement. Some suggestions for you are, of course, I'm a big advocate of exercise. I'd honestly say the only reason I am in shape is because my go-to stress coping mechanism is expending calories, because I love food. I absolutely love food, and I've got a massive sweet tooth, yeah? But when I'm stressed, I very rarely turn to comfort eating or hitting the booze. I expend energy, such as going to the gym or going for a dog walk. Yeah, get the leads. I've had a shit day. Let's go in nature and just have some time to relax and reflect, and then go back and think, right, now that my emotional part of my brain has just calmed down, what can I logically do to solve these stressful problems? Family fun. Kids have had a shocking day today. Say to the missus, say to your partner, let's go to the cinema. Let's do something fun together. That'll make us feel better, Meditation. Every time I recommend this to people, I can just see their eyes rolling like, yeah, right, I am not going to try that. It's hard to do, especially in today's society. We are addicted to dopamine. Our minds are just constantly racing, thinking about one thing onto the next. So to just sit down and do nothing, it's very, very hard to do. And it actually took me 5 times before I cracked meditation and got the benefits. And I've been doing it consistently for 3 years now. And I can't stress how valuable it is as a little tool there to deal with stress, but it also helps you become a better listener, better communicator, and just a more calm aura about you. And then we have the 0% version of alcohol. So literally, just speaking to one of my clients this morning, he's having a real good breakthrough with this. He's going with 0% Guinnesses, even at the pub with his mates. At first, they were taking the piss. How we just have one, how we, man, stop being boring and all that kind of crack as you do get. But 2 weeks in, they're now starting to say, you know what it is? I respect that. Like, I wish I could do that. And yeah, he's starting to influence them, and they might start to be inspired and start taking action as well. A lot of people want to make this change, but they don't know how to do it. And as I said at the start, they're scared to lose the social element of the life because, let's be honest, in life, having that social part of your life, your weekly routine, is so, so valuable to just relax, forget about the stresses of life, and just have good crack with your friends. So that's one of the biggest mindset barriers that prevents people from actually making this change. But yeah, my client's smashing it, 0% Guinness. We calculated this morning. It's 80 calories a can versus I think a Guinness is probably 240 or and above. Saving a shit ton of calories, no hangover, still socializing. Wow, it's a game changer. So which positive habit can you stack from today? Pick out of those and start building the habit. Yeah? The next time you're stressed, the next time you're craving booze, pick one of those things and just, boom, start the breaking the habit process. And I want to conclude this training with a client success story. That was a mouthful. Let me introduce you to Craig, who is a father of 2 and a multiple business owner in the property space, and he was overwhelmed with constant stress and pressure. He was overweight and running on empty, and his mindset was he was just helpless. So he was just using the easy route and hitting the booze. I think it was probably every night of the week or every other night of the week. Or when he was going for it, it was just 100 mile an hour. Now, in terms of a stack and a better positive habit in replacement, he wasn't ready to step back in a gym yet. So we just focused on walking, meditation, and spending quality family time. Now, when he was implementing this, he was working first thing in the morning, and then he was walking on his lunch breaks, and also he was getting his kids out after school as well, playing at the park. Got his steps up from something like, I don't know, I'd be guessing here, to be honest, where his steps was off the top of my head because it was a year ago. That's a pretty average 4,000 or 5,000. If you go on his socials, you will see he does upwards of 20,000 because he's really broke this habit, and this is his new coping mechanism. And he went on to lose 38 pounds as a result in the 12 weeks. And as I say, a year later, we keep in touch frequently, and he's maintained his results because he's broke this vicious cycle. And instead of calories coming in as a coping mechanism, he's expending energy, as I do as well, So my question to conclude is, are you ready to start feeling better in yourself? Imagine waking up with more energy, more mental clarity, and that feeling that you're in control again. Yeah? Well, after the training, it should start from now. If you implement the action steps that I've given you today and do it consistently, things will start to turn around, I am sure. Now, if you want some further help, I highly recommend you join our free school community for more resources if you're watching this on YouTube. Download the 3-step system to get started. I'm going to leave a PDF document with the actual 3-step system so you can take that away and start implementing it. And if you'd like my one-to-one help with this, Maybe you need a reset and you know you need to really get a handle of your drinking habits, your eating habits, and become the best version of yourself. Click the link below of this video to book in a one-to-one support call, and I will do my utmost to see if I can help you, give you a game plan. Okay. Right, that is this evening's training. 20 minutes long, but we got through it. Hopefully it was useful. If it was, drop me a thumbs up, comment below, any takeaways, anything I might have missed. But yeah, hopefully that was useful, and I will see you in the next one. Catch you later. Take care.